In the prison, Annette continued to cry. Tama had been separated from the three of them. Nier suspected that Tama had become a wanted criminal by the kingdom for committing some crime, which caused the three of them to get caught up in it just for being with Tama. While the others were worried, Sensei, on the other hand, asked how executions were carried out in that world. Sensei asked with a smile on his face, imagining the various methods of execution he knew. Nier couldn't believe that was what Sensei was thinking about. He then said that, for now, it would be best if they could escape from the prison. Nier pulled something out of his hat and did something. It turned out that he easily unlocked the prison's padlock with a wire he had hidden in his hat. Annette sarcastically remarked that this skill was not one a valiant warrior should have. But Sensei just patted Nier on the back. Nier felt very happy, but it turned out that Sensei wasn't pleased with what Nier had done either. Of course, Nier was sad because no one praised him at all. Because they were too noisy, the guards caught them and tied them up. Instead of being worried, Sensei asked and confirmed with one of the guards if they were going to be executed. Naturally, the guard became terrified of Sensei. Then, they were taken before the king. One of the king's ministers, named Briard, said that the crime they had committed was severe. Therefore, they would be executed. Of course, Annette and Nier were shocked, while Sensei just smiled. Annette protested, saying that they hadn't done anything. The king of the Grun Kingdom, named Siberian, then said that they had kidnapped the kingdom's princess, named Matilda. Annette became even more confused, as she had never done such a thing. Then Tama, who had changed her clothes, came and firmly stated that she had not been kidnapped. It turned out that Tama was the princess of the Grun Kingdom, whose real name was Matilda. Annette and the others were left speechless. Tama explained that she had just been traveling to various countries to train in martial arts and had accidentally met Annette and the others. Annette nodded in agreement with all of it. Tama then asked the king to free them. The king didn't agree so easily. He had a condition, which was that Tama had to comply with his wishes. Specifically, she had to swear not to do anything foolish again and behave as befits a royal descendant, just like her mother, Lapama. After seeing the condition of her friends, Tama reluctantly agreed to the king's request to behave as a proper princess. As she was leaving, Tama also apologized and thanked Sensei, Annette, and Nier. Briard then allowed them to leave. Annette and the others then went to a restaurant. Nier felt happy to be free, but Sensei was upset because he didn't get to be executed. They talked about how shocked they were, not expecting Tama to be a princess. Annette also remembered how she had been so disrespectful to her. While they were chatting, a woman serving food overheard their conversation and asked if they knew Matilda. Annette confirmed that they did. The server then introduced herself as Kojika. She said that she had once served Matilda in the palace. Nier then recounted what had just happened to them and also about Tama. From Kojika's expression, Sensei knew she was aware of something. Sensei smiled, holding his book and pen, and asked Kojika to tell him what she knew about Tama and the king. Sensei said that the first time he met Tama, she was being captured by a tree monster, and now she was imprisoned by her own father in the palace. So, in Sensei's opinion, Tama is an interesting woman, and he couldn't help but be fascinated by her. Annette then pointed out that now that they know Tama's identity as a princess, it would be inappropriate to dig into her past. But Sensei didn't care, saying it wasn't his concern because, no matter what, she was still Tama. Kojika then began to share what she knew. The scene then shifted to the kingdom, where Tama was seen standing and looking out the window at night. She recalled the events from earlier in the day, where Annette and Nier had funny expressions on their faces after finding out that Tama was a princess. However, Sensei was different. His expression remained the same as always. Tama wondered where they were now and what they were doing. Then, Tama accidentally noticed someone standing on the roof. Suddenly, a large mouth appeared and spat out a black orb, destroying a building. The king and his troops came out to assess the situation. There, they saw a man lounging in a chair. The man knew he was now in the Grun Kingdom, a place where demi-humans lived. He then remarked that he had never eaten a demi-human female before and wanted to try it. The man introduced himself as Kaibara, one of the heroes who had killed the demon lord and saved that world. But he was aware that he was now known as the fallen angel of gluttony. The king realized that he was one of the 7 fallen angels, as reported by Hellsing. Kaibara stated that his current goal was to devour the kingdom. Of course, the king knew he had to be cautious because Kaibara was a gift holder. Upon hearing that, the king's guards denounced him and moved to attack Kaibara. But with a snap of his fingers, Kaibara summoned a large mouth near the king's guards, which then bit them. Kaibara's own mouth seemed to chew along with the giant mouth. Kaibara complained that their bodies were full of muscle and difficult to eat. He said what he really wanted was to eat demi-human females. Naturally, Kaibara's words made everyone there furious. They were eager to beat him, but the king ordered them to retreat. He wanted to face Kaibara himself. The king was furious and wouldn't let Kaibara leave alive. The king then removed some of the accessories he was wearing and prepared for battle. Kaibara once again summoned a creature in the shape of a large mouth, which spewed black energy at the king. The king blocked it using the rubble from the building in front of him. The king could even deflect a direct attack from the large-mouthed creature. The king then attacked Kaibara with his technique, Thunderbolt. Kaibara appeared to be in pain, but it turned out he was just pretending. The king couldn't believe that Kaibara was still standing after taking a direct hit from him. Kaibara then said that such an attack would kill a normal human. It seemed that Kaibara could use the skills of any creature he ate. He had apparently eaten a golem the day before, which allowed him to harden his stomach and protect himself from the king's fatal attack. The king then removed more weights from his hands. The king appeared very serious. He was about to unleash his ultimate technique. Briard knew that it seemed the king wanted to eliminate Kaibara. The king said that since Kaibara had killed his troops, there would be no mercy for him. The king intended to wipe out Kaibara with a single strike of his ultimate technique. However, just as they were both ready to clash, Tama arrived and called out to her father. Both of their attentions were diverted. Tama then said that she would also join the fight. The king, of course, forbade her and said that Tama could never replace Leon. Tama's eyes sparkled upon hearing that. The scene then shifted to a dining area where Kojika was telling Annette and the others that Tama had a twin older brother named Leon. He was supposed to be the heir to the throne of the Grun Kingdom. Prince Leon was brave, and Princess Matilda was kind-hearted. The people of Grun believed that peace would be maintained as long as they were there. But on a stormy night 10 years ago, during a journey, they were caught in a landslide. Prince Leon and Queen Lapama died in the incident. This caused the king to be deeply saddened and depressed for a long time. Tama was very upset seeing her father like that. So, she decided to take Leon's place and bring peace to her father. Tama ordered Kojika to cut her long hair so that she would resemble Leon. However, the relationship between Tama and the king grew more strained because the king did not accept Tama's decision. Back on the battlefield with Kaibara, the king became angry at Tama's arrival and said that Tama's martial arts were completely useless. Tama then leaped towards Kaibara, intending to attack him. Kaibara snapped his fingers, and the large-mouthed creature immediately appeared beside Tama, ready to devour her. Tama could only be shocked and resigned to her fate. At the crucial moment, the king pushed Tama out of the way, but this caused the king to lose his arm. Kaibara only smiled slyly and said that he actually wanted to experience the king's ultimate technique, but it seemed that now the king could no longer use it. Kaibara also apologized for eating the king's arm and showed it to Tama. Of course, this made Tama furious. Just as she was about to leap and attack him, Briard swiftly knocked Tama unconscious and carried her away from the scene. Kaibara could only watch the event unfold, smiling as he said that he would save the main course for later and that now he wanted to enjoy the other dish, the king. Annette and the others had just finished dinner, and Sensei thanked Kojika for her valuable story. They were all shocked when someone suddenly approached them. It was Briard carrying Tama. Briard then recounted what had just happened. Not long after, a massive explosion was heard at the king's residence. The people there were, of course, panicked and confused. They then saw their king in a pitiful state at his residence. Kaibara then revealed himself and introduced himself, declaring that he was now their new king. Kaibara said that as king, he only wanted to taste all the demi-human flesh there. Of course, only the flesh of women and children. As for the male demi-humans, he would just let them continue working as usual. There was an adult man who angrily scolded Kaibara, but in an instant, a large mouth appeared beneath his feet, causing him to fall and be devoured. The people were terrified by what they saw and tried to flee. However, Kaibara had already stationed the former Demon King's monsters all over the city to prevent their escape. Kaibara then entered the king's residence, dragging the king along with him. Sensei was seen closing his book as he observed Tama's fate. After being imprisoned by her father, she now ended up as a princess who lost her kingdom. Sensei thought that Tama's fate increasingly resembled that of a tragic heroine. However, Sensei said that the heroine he admired would never give in to a tragic fate. A flashback occurred where Tama was having her hair brushed by her mother. Shortly after, Tama regained consciousness. She realized she was now at Kojika's house. Tama then opened the door to check on the situation outside. Briard then told her that Kaibara had taken over the capital and intended to devour the citizens. Tama couldn't hold back her emotions and ran off, determined to fight Kaibara. But Briard restrained her. Annette and Kojika also tried to stop Tama. Tama felt sad because her father had lost due to protecting her. Moreover, Tama felt responsible for protecting the kingdom on behalf of her older brother, Leon. Annette then mentioned the tragedy of Clolone Pass. Annette recalled that tragedy after hearing Kojika's story. The tragedy had claimed the lives of 2 royal family members 10 years ago. Annette didn't know that they were Tama's mother and older brother. Annette also heard that all the citizens wept upon hearing the tragic news. According to Annette, this was the greatest proof that the royal family was deeply loved by its people. So, if they were to lose Tama as well, the citizens would surely fall into despair. Tama was shocked to hear Annette's words. Annette then told her to leave everything to her because, as a royal princess, Tama must not endanger herself. Annette assured Tama not to worry because they had a secret technique to defeat the other worlders. Annette, Sensei, and Nier then left Tama to face Kaibara. Briard remarked that Tama had kind-hearted friends. When they arrived at the gate, 2 ogre monsters were stationed there on guard. Annette ordered Sensei and Nier to step back. But calmly, Sensei walked forward and told the 2 ogre monsters that they had come to be eaten. Sensei continued by saying that the new king's speech earlier had truly touched his heart. Sensei also mentioned that he had always thought about how he would die. Before hearing Kaibara's speech, Sensei had never once considered dying by being eaten, so now he was very excited to do so. Sensei then commanded the 2 ogre monsters to quickly relay this to Kaibara. Naturally, the 2 ogre monsters were confused. Seeing this, Sensei scolded them, telling them to make a decision quickly. But unexpectedly, Annette and the others were thrown back into prison. Of course, Annette felt very sad and frustrated. Annette blamed Sensei, but then Sensei told Nier to use his skill again to unlock the cell so they could escape.